Well, here we go. I've had this for a year now. Been beating the hell out of it as much as I can. Redcat Racing Earthquake 3.5. After a year of romping, I can't even count how many hundreds of dollars. All the problems and issues and warranty and man, there's just a lot of shit that they don't tell you, and a lot of stuff that people doesn't tell you. But anyway, it's after a year of bashing, countless fix, fuel line, exhaust, e-start, easy start, whatever they call it. Seems to be holding up now. Took a while. But yeah, stock shock still. Smoked a tree with it, snapped the tire off. Bearings, transmissions. Here's that needle jet I was talking about. See how this one's got, this one's brass, but it also has two washers in between. So, you know, less chance for it to suck air. I also double springed my exhaust, because that was another thing. If the exhaust in your orange O-ring isn't making a good connection and it's sucking air, it can't properly draw the fuel. Same thing with your main bearing. It's a sealed bearing. If it's leaking, that causes a lack of suction, causes engine issues, idle issues, just all sorts of stupid shit. But what I found out on these is you gotta idle them up a little bit. They'll never idle at a low RPM. They gotta have enough rev in it to keep the block warm, to keep the glow plug hot. New fuel tank, new fuel line. I had a filter in there, but countless screws had to replace. Pins fall out, screws fall out. But if you can get it running good and respect it, I had mine running the other day for like an hour on one tank of fuel. I was surprised. I don't even know how much is there. Pretty much sucked it dry, but good 45-minute romp, man, for sure, on a tank of fuel. I must got it in idled in there pretty good somehow. My jet's set. But yeah, I mean, sorry for me, Redcat didn't honor any warranty. They didn't find any. It was all deemed normal wear. They probably figured I crashed it or something, and I did. You know, who doesn't? Unless you're a sponsored character that, you know, competition shit. But anybody like me's probably wrecked theirs for sure. I have. It's a fine line, though. They're fun, but it's constantly breaking all the time, and they don't tell you that. They want you to get into the hobby, and if they tell you, hey, you know, it's going to cost you $100 every time you run the damn thing, who's going to buy one? I wouldn't have. But once you get into it, dog it. It's hard to get it out of your blood. It's like going to the casino. You know, you're always buying this little part. Well, it's $3 and this is $5 and this. Before you know it, man, you got $500-600 just in bull crap. I mean, it's fun, but if you're a family guy, you wouldn't be able to afford it. I'll tell you that. Shocks leak. Screws fall out all the time. But like I said, just those two. Believe it or not, well, three things, because I went to a hotter plug because the temperature around here is cooler. But 2 springs, and I changed this inlet. I'm convinced somehow this is sucking air, or something's happening, because you can get air in your fuel line, but man, just causes problems. Won't idle, stalls, floods out. You try to get a tune, you can't get a tune out of it. And since I put that on there, that screw was set the whole time I had it running, just like that, and I didn't really have any issues. I was running about 240 average. That's perfect. About 240, that's perfect. That's just right about where you want to be. They also don't really explain fuel too well either. I mean, if you live in a cooler climate, you might not want a fuel that's heavy in oil. Because cold, man, I mean, it just spits oil out of the freaking exhaust like there ain't no tomorrow. So I was using that stuff in the freaking can. It's expensive. I think it's like 3 quarts or a pint or something. But it's good stuff. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's any other remedies to thin out your fuel, but this engine's got I don't know, quite a number of hours on it now. So far, so good. I mean, you know, just these little things. See that spring? It helps hold the throttle shut. Man, that whoever come up with that idea was dynamite. Matter of fact, I'm gonna order me a whole bunch of those. They're awesome little springs. They go on there. Keep your butterflies shut. It's all about compression and suction, and you know, as your exhaust passes through, it puts a vacuum, or a pressure I should say, into your tank. So when you're pull starting it, you're getting the pressure, the compression from the cylinder that pressurizes your fuel tank, that primes your fuel line. So if you're leaking air, you're just not going to get a prime. And the same principle works when it's running. That's how it works. It's like a fuel pump. And I think another reason is that, you know, when these things wind up to 2800 or 3200 RPMs, whatever it is, it vibrates that fuel, man, and it turns it into a foam. So you do get a lot of shit in your, a lot of air in your line. But these are the little mods that I did as a learning curve that people don't totally divulge into the conversation of. And if you do these few things, you'll probably be much happier, and you'll have more runtime out of it instead of fixing it all the time. Because, you know, in the hobby, sure, you know, I like working on them too, but what's the point of working on them? You can't go out and break it again. So it is what it is. But yeah, there's your Redcat earthquake after a year.